Hi, llama friends. So, yesterday we read the story of the three little pigs. And do you remember what happened in that story? We had three pigs. One built a house of straw, then a second brother built his house of sticks, and then the third brother built his house of brick, right? And then there was this other character that came in, the no good, big, bad wolf. And he went up to the first house and he huffed and puffed. And what happened to the house? It blew apart. It blew in. So then he went to the second brother's house and he huffed and he puffed. And then what happened? He blew the house in. So then he went to the third brother's house and he huffed and he puffed 4 times, remember? And did the house fall in? No, it didn't this time because it was made of brick. That pig was really, really smart. So then the wolf was sad and he decided that he was going to climb up the roof and then climb up onto the chimney. So he got inside in the chimney, and then what happened? He fell into a pot of boiling hot water. And do you remember what happened to his fur? Half of it got burned off. So then he ran away and was never seen again. Well, today, Miss Megan has the true story of the three little pigs. So this story is written by the wolf. So the wolf is going to tell his side of the story about what happens. So after we read, we'll talk about both stories and see which one we think is right. So let's put our listening ears on and we'll get started. Everybody knows the story of the three little pigs, or at least they think they do. But I'll tell you one little secret. Nobody knows the real story because nobody has ever heard my story. I'm the wolf, Alexander T. Wolf, and you can call me Al. I don't know how this whole big bad wolf thing got started, but it's all wrong. Maybe it's because of our diet. Hey, it's not my fault wolves eat cute little animals like bunnies and sheep and pigs. That's just the way we are. If cheeseburgers were cute, folks would probably think you're big and bad too. But like I was saying, the whole big bad wolf thing is all wrong. The real story is about a sneeze and a cup of sugar. This is the real story. Way back and once upon a time, I was making a birthday cake for my dear old granny. I had a terrible sneezing cold. I ran out of sugar. So I walked down the street to ask my neighbor for a cup of sugar. Now, this neighbor was a pig, and he wasn't too bright either. He had built his house out of straw. Can you believe it? I mean, who in their right mind would build a house of straw? So, of course, the minute I knock on the door, it fell right in. I didn't want to just walk into somebody else's house, so I called, little pig, are you in? No answer. I was just about to go home without the cup of sugar for my dear old granny's birthday cake. That's when my nose started to itch. I felt a sneeze coming on. Well, I huffed and I snuffed.
Hi, Mom.
And I sneezed a great sneeze. And what happened to his house? It fell in. Hi, Jack. And you know what? The whole darn straw house fell down. Right in the middle of the pile of straw was the first little pig, dead as a doornail. He had been home the whole time. It seemed like a shame to leave a perfectly good ham dinner lying there in the straw, so I ate it up. Think of it as a big cheeseburger just lying there. So he was dead in the middle of the straw, and so he decided to eat. I was feeling a little better, but I still didn't have my cup of sugar, so I went to the next neighbor's house. The neighbor was the first little pig's brother. He was a little smarter, but not much. He had built his house of sticks. I rang the doorbell in the stick house. Nobody answered. I called, Mr. Pig, are you in? He yelled back, go away, Wolf, you can't come in. I'm shaving the hairs on my chinny chin chin. I had just grabbed the doorknob when I felt another sneeze coming on. I huffed and I snuffed, and I tried to cover my mouth, but I sneezed a great sneeze. And you're not going to believe it, but this guy's house fell down just like his brother's. When the dust cleared, there was a second little pig, dead as a doornail. Wolf's honor. Now, you know food will spoil if you just leave it out in the open. So I did the only thing there was to do. I had dinner again. Think of it as a second helping. I was getting awfully full, but my cold was feeling a little better, and I still didn't have that cup of sugar for my dear old granny's birthday cake. So I went to the next house. This guy was the first and second little pig's brother. He must have been the brains of the family because he built his house of bricks. I knocked on the brick house, no answer. I called, Mr. Pig, are you in? And do you know what the rude little porker answered? Get out of here, Wolf, don't bother me again. Talk about impolite. He probably had a whole sack full of sugar, and he wouldn't give me one little cup for my sweet old dear granny's birthday cake. What a pig! I was just about to go home and maybe make a nice birthday card instead of a cake when I felt my cold coming on. I huffed and I snuffed and I sneezed once again. Then the third little pig yelled, and your old granny can sit on a pin. Now, I'm usually a pretty calm fellow, but when somebody talks about my granny like that, I go a little crazy. When the cops drove up, of course I was trying to break down this pig's door, and the whole time I was huffing and puffing and sneezing and making a real scene. The rest, as they say, is history. The news reporters found out about the two pigs I had for dinner. They figured a sick guy going to borrow a cup of sugar didn't sound very exciting, so they jazzed up the story with all of that huff and puff and blow your house down, and they made me a big bad wolf. That's it. That's the real story. I was framed. But maybe you could loan me a cup of sugar. So now where is the wolf? He's in jail. So in our first story, the wolf was a big, bad, mean wolf, and he knocked down the houses on purpose. And then he ran away forever. But in this story, the wolf is saying that he just needed a cup of what? Of sugar. He just needed a cup of sugar for a birthday cake. And he said that he went to each house and accidentally knocked them over by sneezing. And then when he got to the third, so he knocked over the straw, and then he knocked over the house of sticks. Remember, it was by accident. He didn't mean to do it. And then he says that when he got to the third house, he asked the same thing for a cup of sugar. And the pig said no. So then the wolf got angry and started huffing and puffing. And then the police officers showed up. And in this story, at the end, he doesn't run away, but the police officers take him to jail, and he's sitting in jail. In the first story, our three little pigs lived, and they all went to the last brother's house. But in this story, there's only one pig left at the end of the story. So I want you to think, which story do you believe? Which one do you think is the true story of the three little pigs? All right, thanks for reading with me today, friends. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.